In a previous video, I went over how the SS-14 trailer completely fails to represent Space Station in an accurate manner, in both tone and actual gameplay. I also went over two other community-made trailers that attempt to represent Space Station a fair bit better, done by Liltonhen and Enrico. Now, you don't need to watch either of those reviews for this one, but they do set the context I will be operating under here. The community trailers, while representative of the game, lack the production value of the main trailer. After all, they're just made by one person for both of them. The main trailer, while having very good animations and high production value, again, a team of animators or a very good animator worked on this, failed to represent the game due to just bad direction. This video, I'm going to show you a hypothetical script slash storyboard slash whatever the hell this is for a trailer that seeks to represent Space Station much better than the actual trailer, while still keeping it to a similar sort of vibe with one proper animation showing off one potential shift. It would theoretically share the same animations the main trailer had, but I am not an animator, and I don't know an animator, and animation is very, very difficult. This video is going to go over each part of the theoretical trailer and explain why I am putting it in, well, the trailer. Feel more than free to critique this in the comments. Before I begins, I will say that much of this is going to take artistic liberties, especially when it comes to the specifics of how mechanics function alongside station layouts. Again, the point of this trailer is to show off as much of 14 as possible. Take, for example, I don't know, Syndicate Agent. The people that are watching this trailer only need to see a couple things involving the Syndicate Agent to get their general vibe. They do not need to know about every little intricate detail of the agent and how they work, or of any department. Also, whenever I'm saying something that is said by a person in the trailer, I will use this voice filter so that we can differentiate between the person who is talking diegetically, as in character in the trailer. That way we can avoid any confusion about what's going to be in the trailer with voice acting, which, yeah, that's one of the main things I think needed to be fixed. No one's talking. Oh, the final note. Most of this should be expected to take the third person-ish, with similar camera angles to the official trailer. With that, let us begin! We start on Box Station. The camera starts within the swirling mass of the singularity for a couple seconds. Then, we zoom out of the singularity. We see all of its containment devices, the emitters, the particle accelerator, the rad collectors, and we see the CE and two engineers. All of this in view at the same time. This is our hook. Already, we've established a setting, space, and we've established advanced technology. We have also created something that poses a billion questions. They contained a black hole? Really? I can't believe it! From here, we then talk to the CE. The CE says to the two other engineers, "Alright, Singularity's online, I'll be in my office," before walking away and slipping on space lube. This causes the other engineers to laugh at them. This is our tonal setting. Despite these apparent bad geniuses being able to contain literal black holes, they laugh, funny stuff happens, and this also fixes my biggest issue with the official trailer, as well as your guys, my audience's, biggest problem with the official trailer. It's both my issue, nobody was talking, and your issue. It wasn't funny. Talking is 50% of Space Station 14, and funny is at least like 40 to 70%, depending on your server. Whatever server you play, stupid and funny things happen constantly. This is also the first thing new players find. They find the game incredibly complex, but also ridiculous in a way that us people who are familiar with Space Station can't even understand. We've now established a setting, a tone, and talking. The main things. Let's walk around a box and try and display as much of the game with the different departments. We would be watching from through the window in the official trailer, but I need to walk in here and display the atmospheric technician opening a valve and setting themselves on fire. Let's be real here. Atmos is most known for setting themselves on fire, and while I could show off all of their unique gases, atmospherics is kind of witchcraft to most of the player base. This also establishes that danger and hilarity go hand in hand, which is classic Space Station. I was going to have more interesting hallway sections, like a guy crayoning here, but I couldn't figure out. Guy slipping on a puddle that punches the janitor who's cleaning it. And we also introduce our first antagonist here. Hallways are hard to make interesting, and Changeling is also hard to put in any particular department, besides maybe medical, I don't know. So the Changeling opens a door. The guy within the door says, "Hey, my name's James. How can I help?" Before the Changeling, arm blades up, impales the dude, changes into the dude's face, and then says in a distorted voice, "Hey, I'm James," before they're both shunted out of sight as we walk past them. Changeling is hard to represent, and while this definitely isn't a T to how Changeling actually works, this does represent the Antag and their attributes. They're lethal, they're terrifying. From here, we turn the corner towards Cargo. Tighter electrocuting themselves while breaking into Hot of Personnel office for IDs because, of course, they are. We see through our station layout changes that having a self-mining an asteroid will be fully visible. Again, I want this to be viewable from just the hallways. I never want us to enter a department with the exception of engineering. From here, the salvager would break a rock, and then a space carp would jump out of the rock, bite onto the salvager, who would then wave their arm around as the other salvagers begin drawing weapons, putting away their pickaxes, to deal with the carp. This would probably not include blood or anything else and stick to mostly comedy. I think the space carp is also perfectly representative of salvage's main difficulty when dealing with any asteroid. It's always the carps. We then see a cargo tech being asked by a tider to order 500 moth roaches. The cargo tech says, absolutely not, and shuts the wind door. If I could, I'd put Peach as the assistant and Tyra Williams, Lilton Head's character, as the Cargonian, but I'm not sure I want specific people's characters to be within this trailer. Heading north, we pass by a scientist handling a blue space anomaly. They touch it and are teleported into the space pocket above the bridge. Classic science. I think representing anomalies and science early is a pretty good way to deal with science's main issue, because how the hell do we show them robotics? Seriously, you'll see later in this trailer the only way I was able to show robotics was a little but whatever. From here, we then see a security officer attempt to arrest a lawyer, who dodges the baton attempt and uses the hypopen to sleep the security officer before running from another officer who begins firing their disabler. This is the way I am representing the syndicate agent. The agent is the most varied antagonist because they can be stealth, they can have loud options. I think using a stealth item to escape a loud situation is a pretty good compromise, as well as the fact that syndicate agent has the most varied options. Showing off any particular is kind of hard. I think I'd put Armox Scrungus here, but again, not sure if I want people in this trailer, and hypopenning someone is kind of tame for the shit he pulls. We show off revolutionaries next by screaming "Viva la Revolution" and running into the bridge as a Borg opens the door with, "Okay, opening door." They toss whatever. Obviously, it's Revs. The cap security, off-head security, NTR, they all retreat, shooting lasers at the people, because I'd really rather not include visible blood in this trailer, you know? It makes it a little too off. Anyway, yeah, it's Revs. Revs is so content lax, unless you're Armok remaking it, which hopefully video on the Revs rework Armok's working on soon. But yeah, I really don't know what to say. It's fucking revs. And then we come across Shiva. Shiva waves and says hi. We then see the bar. The bar shows off a nice scene with people talking to each other, musicians doing thing, but then the scene suddenly cuts to a much darker one with a heretic and their evil ritual. We cut to the blood cult as the heretic finishes their cast, which they're going to be the satanic cult in this instance because we're not putting blood. I don't want blood in the trailer. Blood is a no-no for the trailer because it would really confuse people. Seriously, no blood. We then call to the cosmic cult as Narcy's summon is finished, and we see them worshipping the Dark Monument. I know it's just the Cosmic Monument, but again, we're showing off all three of the magical antagonists at once because I really don't know where to put them, and I think having them all in the same idea will give people a really strong impression of just how dark things can get on these space stations. And with one final shift, we get a flash of the unknown staring directly at the camera. And then we cut right back to the bar. Obviously, there would be a lot of audio stuff that I'm not smart enough to figure out right now, but essentially, they're all similar vibes, they're all really cool, so shove them in the bar because I don't have anything else to put here. And yeah, I mean, it's the Cosmic Cult and the Blood Cult. You gotta include them. They're too cool. Now, if you've been asking yourself, hey, you can't show blood in this trailer, or at least you're not going to, what are you going to do for medical? My answer is I'm going to make Ken blow themselves up and then not display medical in essence. I'm essentially just going to show a wall with like random surgical equipment and like chems spilling everywhere and stuff showcasing around, but like I really don't know how to display medical. Like, audio maybe? Like, oh, why'd you put the clown's arm on the CMO? If you have any ideas that won't instantly age restrict the hypothetical trailer, let me know in the comments, because I've racked my brain for ideas, smashed my head against the wall, couldn't think of any. Yeah, medical's hard to display without blood. Let's move on to science, which is not hard to display. We start with science using speed boots to slam themselves into the wall, comic pancake aside, sliding off it like a pancake, cartoon stuff. They use a QSI to get themselves stuck into a wall, because of course they are. The scientist then proceeds to poke an artifact, which would hypothetically turn them into like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, a monkey, a literal lizard, moth roach even, if you want to include a moth roach, anything really. Then we see in the robotics section a roboticist makes a Borg, turns it on. The Borg proceeds to scream, "Law, the crew must fish," grabs a cart plushie, and then begins slapping the guy with it. The ending is very, very similar to the official trailer. We have a nuclear operative that blows through a window, and the last thing our camera would see is an energy sword beaming down upon it, which fully cuts it out, fade to black. Then we cut to the outside scene of the station exploding from the official trailer, and then go into the same, display of Space Station 14 on Steam, blah, download now, blah. Anyway, with that, I am going to cut to some spare footage I have and explain a couple questions that I assume you will have before we end the video. First of all, where's security? Security is one of those tonal issue departments. See, the official trailer showed security doing combat, which combat I don't think is the main focus of Space Station unless you're playing on RMC, which is not Space Station. I'll get to that when I get around to talking about RMC as a server, which it's on my to-do list. Please, I beg. I will get to it eventually. But anyways, combat in Space Station is not a main focus of it. You can go most of a round without doing any combat whatsoever. In most roles, really. So I don't think showing security fighting people is exactly necessary. I still included them in a minor way with the, Syndicate Agent Spotlight, but I really don't think security is that interesting to watch besides just shooting each other, which, again, runs into the tone problem that the main trailer had, which, non-combat game, most of the time. Yeah, that and the other non-combat aspects of security, like fucking warden bringing people is just kind of boring. And it's really hard to put them anywhere because even if we shove security just in front of the bridge, it kind of clutters everything. And like, how interesting is it to watch security bring someone, really? And also, and this is the biggest also, what the fuck would we do with security? Like, what is visually stunning while also accurate about security that makes them that interesting? Come on, really? I guess detective, maybe, but detective's a single role job. Like, only one person can play detective in a shift. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have ideas to include security better without modifying the flow of the trailer too much. Because I don't want to make it a massive, fast-paced thing like the official trailer, while also not being slow enough to bore. You know? You know. Question 2, I assume you have. Why the no blood thing? Here's the thing. Age rating is a mechanic in Space Station, and... Did I just say mechanic? Age rating is a thing that will always come into play whenever you're talking about any game ever. While Space Station's pixelated graphics do make it less bloody, it's still a tonal thing. Here's the thing. I don't think Space Station is a game that obviously kids should be able to play, but I also don't think we should portray Space Station as some bloody game where violence happens all the time. It's delightfully cartoony. It's a friggin' Space Station role-playing game where people screw around and talk about, like, pretending to be a wizard, just as an example you're seeing on screen, or talking about what the best pet is on the station. It's not a violent game most of the time, and including blood kind of sets the wrong tone. Like, okay, for example, let's take Wile E. Coyote. Wile E. Coyote runs into a wall, flattens like a pancake against it, and then falls down. If Wile E. Coyote ran into the wall and had to recover from bloody, disgusting injury, that's a lot different. The amount of violence and injury displayed sets the tone of everything you're playing, both in story, in movie, in video game, and Space Station, you recover from injuries really easily. Like, take Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball has characters actively have to recover from devastating injury quite often. Same with Baki or most anime, really. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, on the other hand, has characters sustain incredible injuries from broken bones and get right up, basically right back after. Both as a display of how tough their characters are, and as a display that the gratuitous violence isn't really the showing that's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be like a, holy shit, this character's so fucking cool and this fight is awesome. It's not meant to be like a Walking Dead thing where a minor scratch can kill you. I don't know. Tonal dissonance is a thing that's really weird, especially when it comes to Space Station, where you decide the tone. When you play it, you could have a detective noir one shift. You could have a fucking random shitpost the next shift. You could have a bloody violent revolution the next. So I think keeping it at the lowest tone that games and shifts usually take is probably the best choice. If you disagree, fair enough. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, as with all the other things. I'm really looking for community input on this. The final question, how would you interpret other servers? Like, okay, Space Station has, I'm going to call them 3 main styles of server. There's the classic Space Station stations, like Funky, Goob, Wisden, Trieste, maybe? I have not checked up on Trieste in a while. I'm going to assume Trieste. Where everyone is working semi-cooperatively. There's some people that are betraying each other, but everyone's mostly role-playing and just doing their own thing and messing around in a mostly cooperative setting. Besides the antagonists, there's no direct people that want to kill each other by default and automatically want each other dead. Then there's the very single-player focused Space Station, or not Space Station, but ship-based servers. Like Monolith, Hullrot somewhat, although don't play on Hullrot, seriously, it's a, like, I might go do a full video on it, but I played on Hullrot for the first time, and yeesh. Never again, I think. Anyway, the ship-based servers are mostly solo only, or you and a small team, while still having things and other players you are directly, implicitly hating. And then there's RMC, and I don't think there's any other RMC type servers where it's just you shoot other people. You shoot alien, you kill Marine as alien, blah blah blah. My idea is to show every server's icons flying by in the final shot, like Funky's blue ribbon, Goob Station's icon, RMC's Rooney, a ship from Frontier and Monolith. Maybe not Hull Rot, though, because they just got rehubbed, and I honestly think they're going to fuck up again and get dehubbed again. Which is kind of the whole issue with this. Speaking of Goob Station, which, first of all, I don't have an issue with Goob Station. I don't know why people think I hate Goob Station. I just don't like it myself. I think it's a fine server that does a lot of good in the community. With that said, Goob Station has had a strike before for doing dumb shit. If you don't know what a strike is, basically the Wisden staff, which the upper staff, not the game staff, the people that run Space Station's hub can strike people for doing things that are against the hub rules. This is meant to keep the hub clean and, not stupid, and they'll also punish servers with dehubbing, aka make them unable to advertise their server to players if they do stupid shit that goes against the community. Like raiding other servers, or just being generally shit, fucking up the hub, trying to get the hub taken down, hello Einstein's engines, shit like that. And at any time, because each of these servers are run by usually lone people or very small groups with no incentive to behave besides the hub rules, which they often just ignore anyways, any one of these servers could fuck up at any time and result in them forever tainting the official trailer. So, I don't know. With that though, that's, I think, all the questions I could anticipate. I'd like to thank my channel members. As usual, you guys keep the show going. Let me know if you want more videos just like this one. I am down to make more of these. This was a very fun video to make. I quite enjoy it. Let me know how you think of this video in the comments below. Give me suggestions. Again, I am very much looking for community feedback on this. And if you're an animator who wants to animate this, don't, first of all, because that's hard. And two, let me know. I would love to try and help organize a team to get this made. Although probably don't do that, because again, animators do not work for free. They are very expensive because animation takes a lot of time and effort. Anyways, thank you to Wakefield H, User Face Test, Lecter, Subkitty Cat, Doorstar, Pledge123, Webs, Order, Filmatimo, and Sather Lapin. Support the show down below. And that's the video for today. Goodbye. Hope you have a fun time.